Brawl Stars Championship, where we are getting hot and heavy in the EMEA region. We are kicking things off massively so here in these quarterfinals. Pretty swift one to start, Teddy. That one was not the case. We went all the way, but it's great to have you back. What did you think of those matchups?
Crazy stuff, especially that previous match. I really expected it to be a sweep at that point, right? We saw the two first sets, Team Queso looking convincing as ever, but as history repeats itself, they choked, they get reverse swept, Ark.
I mean, I'm sure you were grateful for it, Teddy. You just trying to rush your coffee there, and then we're able to get a bit more of a round in. But next up, we're going to be seeing Reply Totem up against Navi. That one is going to be such an absolute banger to see who's going to be going on next to those semi-finals in the lower stages of the bracket. Colossal Gaming as well, and A&R up shortly after that. All best of fives here, guys, in the 2023 format. Let's crack straight into the rosters for Reply Totem. Teddy, Joker, Maru, and Maori. I mean, these guys need little of an introduction, but give us an idea. Maybe some of the viewers at home might be new to the BSC. Talk us through it.
Yeah, if you look at their history, they started off in 2021, right? With that top 4 placement, which was very unexpected. They were the underdogs qualifying from the EMEA region. And then following up in 2022, they looked pretty much just as good with Joker joining the roster as well, giving them that extra spice, that extra X factor, and they've been a fierce team, making every team scared of them, and you're just never safe when you're facing them, really.
We're going to mention as well, we have seen a bit more of a team roster change in regards to the coaching. We've got Roll coming in now from AC Milan Clash of LATAM South of last year now. As we know already, Inso going over to the Zeta Division. We've seen them already progress to those semi-finals. But let's focus on Navi, MMA, Cube, and Angel Boys. We know it was Alex that parted ways, and we're seeing a little bit more from him later on today as he is on the A&R roster. But it wasn't the World Finals that Navi were hoping for. It was their first land, so we've got to give them a little bit of credit for that, for putting up the fight, which they did. But Tribe Gaming NA, that winners round of 16, really did, stomp over Navi. Let's be honest. We've got to say it how it is. But coming in today, they looked great in their qualifier. I've really got to draw attention just to how much work they had to do. Some of the teams they had to knock out to make it to this monthly finals. In many of the eyes of the pros, Teddy, they had the harder run in that bracket.
Dude, I feel like every beginning of the year we count Navi out in a way, right? We feel like they're not looking as hot as they used to be, and yet somehow they make it all the way through, they qualify, and I'm expecting to see more of that today. I think they are a very fierce opponent here for Reply Totem, and they better be ready for them.
Yeah, I think they will be ready for them for sure, and it's going to be an interesting time for Reply Totem. I mean, I have them down to go all the way here today, but I mean, we have seen in the BSC, in the monthly finals, some moments of weakness for Reply Totem. It was a very slow start to the year in 2022. Going towards the end of 2022, towards the World Finals, we saw them exit in the quarterfinal stages, which is very unlike them to see. But again, with some team sort of dynamic changes in the background, of course, waving goodbye to Inso, bringing in Roll. It's been working so far, but you just never know. It's such an early stage in the competition, whether it's going to be smooth sailings straight off the bat, nothing different from previous years, or whether it might take some time to adjust. But going into Gem Grab for our first map and mode of the day is going to be Hard Rock Mine. As I always say, Teddy, one of the most balanced of all the Gem Grab maps, so a great place to start, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it's an iconic one, right? I mean, I feel like every single competitive map pool has had it, with maybe a few exceptions. It's one of the classics. One of the things I think is quite interesting, actually, about this particular match is it's two teams with barely any roster changes, right? If you look at the core team, not looking at staff, they haven't changed one bit, and a lot of people have been pointing out the fact that they've been successful early on this year so far, despite not having any changes to their rosters. Looking at the draft, however, we do have Penny, 8-Bit, and Janet banned out. But Reply Totem, Navi, going to be banning out Gray, Gene, and Ruffs, and a first pick of Crow, which I think is quite an interesting one here for Hard Rock Mine.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think it's quite smart, though. Stu for the side lane aggression, though. Very much what we tend to see from Navi. It's definitely not the pick that I was expecting from Reply Totem, if I'm honest. But I do like the bans, for sure. I think 8-Bit in the mid, very underrated in this particular map. One that we see a lot as well, so it's kind of still surprising to me that many don't kind of see why that Brawl is so good as a gem carrier. But Navi, though, they like aggression, and this is where they thrive generally when it comes to the BSC. when they're not on stage, they're able to be a bit more relaxed in their element, and Otis coming in as well to join the forces with that Stu pick. I quite like. I don't know whether Otis, though, is going to be the commanding role in the mid, or whether they're going to maybe even try experimenting with a Stu in the mid. I'm not really kind of sure at the moment whether the gem carrier lies on the side of Navi with this particular comp, but Fat Splatter surely going to get some good value, but the Crow as well going to gain a lot of value on the side of Reply Totem. They might even bring in Buzz. I love it when they do, honestly. They're a team that really can handle that kind of particular brawler so well under these circumstances, but definitely Reply Totem are lacking aggression. They need to bring something of that nature to the table.
Absolutely. So Spike not really in that train of thought, however, but honestly, it's not that bad, right? It's going to be able to slow down this too if he decides to over-aggress, can even potentially tank a mute with the cactus as well. So there are some possibilities there, a bit of a more plain pick, however. Gus, also not necessarily the most spice to it, but it does work. It's, you know, quite standard. It's been in the meta pretty much ever since its release. I'm assuming that is going to be either played mid or on lane, and they could swap with the Crow depending on how they feel. And looking at this Rico, actually, I'm guessing they're going Otis mid or Stu mid. This is an odd one from Navi, let's be honest.
I mean, you know it's a new season of the VSC when it takes me this long to realise that Rico has not been picked, because it's my go-to brawler on this map. It really is. I mean, it can just do such wondrous work. I imagine that Navi were just a little bit concerned with wall-breaking potential, because it can completely eradicate the effectiveness of the Rico on the left-hand side. I prefer it on the right-hand side myself, but it's a bit more to the preference of the player. I think you can just get a better angle on some of the positionings on the right-hand side there, but it depends on how it's played, if I'm being completely honest. And you know, surely Gus for the mid, right? For Reply Totem, they're going to be considering the Crow for a little bit, but yeah, now the mid role going to be taken by Maori, because then you want the Crow to be able to assassinate, and it can do a great job of assassinating on the Rico side. So that's what I'm looking to see really in this matchup between Joker and Angel Boy.
So far, Maori and Joker both low HP, and surely they'll get cleaned up, and Maori pops the super just in time. He does go down. Is that going to be enough to slow onto Angel Boy? A jump in from Joker, still standing, but the poison will take him out, and eventually that will be the gems all on Reply Totem's side. Somehow they managed to keep them, and they'll hold on to them in that bush whilst they wait to get a couple more to initiate that countdown directly.
Very scatty game so far, very frantic on both sides the coin, but it is going to be Reply Totem that are just narrowly edging towards getting their countdown. Joker goes down, however, a gem to pick up Mary, though. Should be able to move forwards now with the help of Mary, and that will be swift and straightforward countdown. Navi had some moments, some franticness, it's got to be said, but I feel like with the amount of utility available to Reply Totem, it would be a surprise to me if Mary goes down here, but if Angel Wood connects, can't get the angle here realistically, and that's a credit to Mary, and as well the support from Mary coming in. First game in the bag, it looked relatively straightforward. A few moments where Reply Totem were a bit frantic in their approach, but nonetheless started to bring it back to a bit more of a formality to see it through.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of just the motto here for Navi, right? They go for something a little bit unusual with their comp, and they are hoping that they create enough chaos in the early stages of those games that they build up some momentum and end up taking it. It didn't quite work out for them this time around, but it wasn't all bad either. Just got to be a little bit more careful with where those gems end up, as Q takes a lot of early damage. Maori and Joker creating so much space down in the mid. MMA on that left-hand side is taking quite low HP as well. They can't quite line up the angle, but eventually Joker does, and that's going to be the pickup for Reply Totem. Just creating so much space for Totem to just pick up gem after gem and completely lock Navi out of the mid for now.
Angel Boy is trying to seek out and destroy Mary there, but now surely he'll find it. Oh, the pinch is great though between MMA, but the range needs to be closed in just a little bit. They are starting to collect the rats in the trap, and it's just Mary versus MMA now. So why is he not using Gadget here? That's about to be great to be able to seek out this situation and to keep the pressure on, but it was just used a bit too late there. Mary was the target. Time was there to allow then Joker to come into the mix, and it wasn't really the play there for me, and a very swift takedown of Angel Boy on the right-hand side as Reply Totem now really are just starting to secure things much, much better. There is time here for Navi to make a comeback. They've got 4 gems in the pocket, much better than before, but as the game continues to go on, I just feel like Reply Totem look very comfortable in this scenario, Teddy.
They certainly do. Cublo as well, and gets pinched by Maru. Angel Boy maybe a little bit too wide on that flank. That's gem number 10 for Maru. A shield popped as well, just for safe measure. And now Navi, they have 10 seconds to interrupt this countdown, or the first set will be going the way of Reply Totem. No chance here for Navi. They gave it their best shot, and it just didn't quite work out in the end. I think their draft was maybe just a little bit too wild, even for themselves.
Yeah, I don't think it was necessarily for me even just the draft. It was like the play style. It was just a bit all over the place. I'll be honest. It just felt very, very frantic. And that actually kind of forced Reply Totem to be a bit frantic in their approach at the beginning. Before they just kind of felt like, guys, why are we playing into the ideas of Navi? Why are we kind of approaching this in the same way when we can just kind of sit back and control this a bit better? I'm not sure whether it was nerves or whether it was just a bit of aggression that they were trying to inflict that kind of just didn't really come with that element of controlled aggression that you really need to have against the team that are successful enough to be in the position of Reply Totem. I mean, you just cannot play that way against them. And they were punished for it. Simple as that. I think Navi are going to have to go back to the drawing board a big time, because this is not the approach to be able to take on a win against a team like them.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it's just a draft per se, but when you commit to a 2 mid, you need to fully commit, right? That means you need to be constantly on the offensive side and take map control and fight all the way up to their side of the map. And I feel like Navi were just really unable to get any sort of wins on their lanes and create that pressure for the Stu to start driving. He was playing so defensively that the lack of range was really being felt, and the stats, I mean, really speak for themselves here. Angel Boy was the best results on the Rico, as kind of expected, as it is the most traditional brawler on this map as well. But for the most part, 11 kills on Joker, really not too shabby.
Yeah, I mean, Joker played phenomenally well in that match, and especially coming into it, we kind of questioned the Crow pick in Hard Rock Mine just a little bit. But, I mean, you can see there why it's worked so well. Definitely one that I'm sure Roll had a bit of work to do as well when it came to that draft. But especially when you combine the Gus, it's almost like just a mega shield. I mean, we've kind of gone past the days where we've seen that much on the gadget side. Nobody's always slowing Toxin for Crow, whereas Defense Booster, it's really viable. In my opinion, it's still viable, but it's almost like Gus has now eradicated that gadget. It needs a bit more love now to look back upon. But there we see the vote as well, 74% there. And correct me if I'm wrong, Teddy, there. I saw a glimpse of it. I'm pretty sure that was in favour of Navi, if I'm not mistaken, right? And that just goes to show the strength of their fan base. I mean, I think it's not necessarily as one-sided for me. I think Reply Totem are probably the favourites here, in fact. But I would say probably more around a 60-40 or a 65-35 for me, if I'm honest.
I could not agree more with you. Totem definitely coming in here as favorites, but as our draft is kicking in, we'll be locking in Otis and Poco right after Navi's first pick, which was M's. Nothing too crazy when we look at the bans. I think the Spike one is probably the more interesting one for me. A Surge as a follow-up is gonna be quite interesting, playing off that speed gear in the bushes, making sure you make up for that lack of speed early game and try to get to stage 2 as quickly as possible, because with the right star power pick, well, you get to keep it for the entirety of the game.
I really like this and where it's leading potentially here for Navi, but Ash as well. I mean, it's looking scary. I think Sam would be a great shout here for Reply Totem, to be honest, especially with the Poco. I mean, that's going to go in such a fantastic way. I mean, you're looking at combining Hearty Recovery, Star Power, and a Sam with the Poco and Magnetic Field as well, just to bring in the Ash when he tries to escape away with the speed that is inevitably going to have off the back of the Rage. I really like we're sparing for Reply Totem if they go with that idea. Nonetheless, though, Navi are aggressive. They're going to go with Colette. Surely going to be Joker on that particular brawler. The man works absolute magic when it comes to playing Colette here. But I don't know, it just wasn't kind of where I thought they were going to be leading with it. Navi have got very much an aggressive comp here, but they've really struggled to make that aggressiveness count when it comes down to actually, outmatching Reply Totem, outplaying them. And that's where, for me, Navi have got to rein things back in just a little bit. Brawl is not a map and mode that you want to be making that kind of mistake with to give your opposition, free reign of the field. So coming to this one, I want to see a bit more of a slower, steadier start to get those surge stacks, especially. Cube's going to land these early shots.
What a start for Reply Totem. Mari should be able to just slot this one in. And that is quite the early goal there, 15 seconds in for goal number 1. And NAVI already struggling here in Brawl. And to me, the key pick here was the Poco on Maori. That second pick on the side of Reply Totem just kind of set the pacing for the draft. Because NAVI, they wanted to go for the Poco most likely, and some tankier ideas as we just kind of know them for. But Poco is versatile enough to just go for something else, and another tank counter to deal with that Ashe seemed like quite a brilliant idea. Some good fights here for NAVI. They're building up some big control down in the mid. Let's see if they can build a push off it.
Well, nice work there from Angel Boy on the left. Got applied this one a bit back on the ropes. Great through there from MMA. Push through here. Surely the pass is there, but everyone low. Joker doing great work, but Angel Boy with the pickup will seal the deal just in the nick of time. But it was a kind of a shaky start for me from NAVI. That was much better, but I just feel like they're just in a position where they can just change at any moment, really. I mean, they had like their entire team wipe on the side of Reply Totem to start things off. Now starting to slow down the pace, exactly what they need to do now. Can they keep this up?
Third stage on the surge is massive for Cube. Just enables him to play more defensively and more at range. But Joker finds a big pickup on the right-hand side. MMA is very low HP as well. Maru gonna pass it forward. Cube gets taken away, actually pushed into Maori. But Maori just walks it in. And that's gonna be a pretty clean one, all things considered here for Reply Totem. Their first game of Brawl. NAVI did manage to bring it back. It wasn't quite enough for them, unfortunately.
I don't feel like this should be as one-sided as we're seeing. I'll be honest. I don't think the drafts are that bad, honestly, for NAVI. But the implementation of it, it's just not working for them. They've got to just reconsider their strategy here. Cube really out of position there. Great pinch between Maori and Joker. And just now they just push through, power through, gotcha gadget. Joker can't quite get the angle for the super shot. Pass through to Maori. It's just pitch perfect, Teddy. Another goal there in 23 seconds, the 15 seconds prior to that in the last game. It's just NAVI not learning from their mistakes.
This is a huge trade for Cube. If he didn't pick that one up, that would probably be the second and final goal here for Reply Totem in this set. Let's see if NAVI can build up some sort of a push, and Angel Boy does not stand a chance against Joker on that Colette. MMA trying to make sure they can't go for a quick push themselves and build up too much map control and to maybe make a play, but another chance. Maru shuts him down, and the crossfires are on point. Another great super from Joker, and this is going to be it. This is the end. Maru just trying to walk it in. Not quite. The defense still stands for NAVI, but for how long?
Joker goes down. The speed there from Cube and the speed gear will go a long way into pushing this one forwards. This has got to be a goal. There's no way it's not, surely, right? They can pass it through, and there it is. Angel Boy will score it. We're all tied up. Let's see now with a minute on the clock. Who is going to be able to take this game? Is it going to be Reply Totem going up 2 sets, or can we start to scrape this one back?
I may have gotten overexcited, as Totem probably did too. It was an opportunity to score earlier and end the set here, be 2 sets out. See if they can make up for it now, as Cube is low HP. MMA fell, Rats out, Angel Boy, and Cube shut down Joker at 2-1-2, but MMA is respawning and closer to the action now to try to turn things around. However, overtime is going to be quite a question mark here for NAVI with that Ashe.
Angel Boy's starting to push his way forwards. Great take down the Joker. Robotic Rats going out now as well. And a whole load of hurt coming in for Mario. The pass through. Cube can't miss this, and he doesn't. Great angle. Didn't hesitate for it. That was what NAVI needed. Not always easy to make that work, by the way. It's a really tight one, especially when all eyes are watching. You miss that shot, everyone on your team is going to be coming for you. Great play from him. I'm glad he made it work. And now starting to make things a little bit more interesting in the second set.
Absolutely so. I mean, that was looking better and better. I think there was quite a couple of mistakes from Joker on his matchup against Ashe, maybe playing it a little bit too close range, maybe some overconfidence here and there, and opening up that lane for NAVI to build up some more opportunities. A great super there from Joker, but he has low HP. 3-on-2 now. Angel Boy and Cube both low HP as well. But can they slot this one in? And they certainly will, as Cube is mid-air when the ball goes through. Reply Totem again was the early goal, but we've seen NAVI bring it back time and time again already in this set. However, this time around, it's an early kill again for Reply Totem.
Big push through, but can't really make it count. Great swing from MMA, but now muted out. Cube catches it in, but can't get any value for it. Doesn't go on the right-hand side. Stack up along the way, but Reply Totem realistically have got NAVI exactly where they want them, and it's down to NAVI to be able to escape from this position. They can't go into aggressive, and that's been their problem the whole way through. And look at this, Joker coming in. Hill from Mary did not quite connect, but it's just a 3 versus 1, and Cube going to be able to try to come in. Not going to happen. 2 sets up, go Reply Totem, and NAVI with egg on their face.
Yeah, it was looking better on the side of NAVI. It really was, but that's still not quite going to cut it. Reply Totem just looking super solid, and I feel like NAVI, they're kind of stuck, right? Because if they play Reply Totem's kind of game, that just doesn't really work. Totem are just so much better at it, and Totem also happens to be really good at dealing with those short bursts of aggressions that NAVI are known for. And so far, NAVI just don't really seem to have any sort of answer for what Reply Totem are throwing at them.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, the answer is so clear to see. But when you're playing, of course, you know, you're in the heat of the moment. There's so much going on, so many decisions to have to make, not just in real time, but of course in the draft and all sorts of preparation processes. But they're just overly confident in their aggression, and you just cannot be against a team like Reply Totem. Very similar to how SK will play as well. They're just going to let you take that leading approach and go, okay, you know, you just keep showing us that, and we're going to counter that at every available opportunity and just play it much calmer, much more collected, and it's working out so much better. There are some moments where that aggression is working out, and it is paying off for NAVI, and they are getting a couple of goals, but that's Brawl done and dusted now. We're through that set. That's like the game mode where it could work out better, if anywhere, in their favour. Now we're past it. So, in fact, I think that was NAVI's best opportunity to gain a set from Reply Totem with that kind of strategy if they are going to continue it through. But that's now past. I mean, look at the DPS there on Joker. 350. I mean, that is phenomenal. You know, as soon as I saw the Colette come up, my instinct is saying, man, Colette's good, but it's not her best mode by any means at all. I mean, Heist absolutely is. But then I remember, well, it's actually Joker playing Colette. So that then changes things quite considerably. It is one of his best brawlers on that mode, honestly. And those stats say that same story. Mary as well, having a great game, but you know, for such an aggressive comp and for such an aggressive playstyle on the side of NAVI, those stats do not reflect anything near that same story.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that NAVI let that Colette happen in the first place. As you mentioned, one of Joker's most iconic brawlers, and an obvious counter to Ashe too, right? So it's not really, you know, unexpected to see him bring it out as a very late pick in those sort of situations. He's been farming that Ashe for the entirety of that set, and I mean, the stats absolutely reflect that.
Well, going in then to Canal Grande for Bounty. Could be the last set we see in this series. 26% of you on over at event.brawlstars.com did think that Reply Totem had that enough to go all the way. The 74% of NAVI. And well, the exact opposite story is occurring. NAVI have got a huge fan following, it cannot be denied, but looking at the facts on the field, it's not saying to me that NAVI have got what it takes at the moment, unless they make a big change here. Coming in first with that gene pick with the bands there of Carl, Penny, and Squeak. On the side of Reply Totem going in with the Grey, Poco, and the Eve band. I quite like those bands, if I'm honest. I think Eve here can get some tremendous value. But there's not be as much fight over that blue star, to be honest, now with the Carl band and, of course, the Eve band as well. So Otis going to come in for Reply Totem and the Janet. Oh, this is a Reply Totem comp here coming in thick and fast. I love it.
Absolutely so, and two brawlers that are in a really good place in the meta, and also that don't really have proper hard counters, right? Like, yes, they have some brawlers they will struggle against a little bit more than others, but they don't really get hard countered by a single brawler, and I think that is very much in line with Reply Totem's mindset in general. Ashe is going to be a way to try to disrupt that, because you need some extreme measures to deal with those sort of situations. Surge going to be joining in the ranks here as well for NAVI as their final pick. Very similar plays and draft here than what we saw just earlier in Brawl Ball, but it didn't quite succeed in Brawl Ball, did it?
This is the question. You know, can Reply Totem can keep this aggressive comp back in the spawn, because if they can, I mean, they got a chance to counter it. They could bring in Lou here, they could bring in, well, Spike's not the worst of counters, not my ideal go-to, but it has the range, which is what you want to have realistically here if you can get that mid-control. So I don't mind it. I think this is going to be a very good comp here for Reply Totem if they can keep that mid-control. Ultimately, NAVI have got a fantastic opportunity to do the same thing themselves with an early surge gadget coming in to get those additional stacks and a quick positioning power for the Ashe. They might be able to do just that, but I think the drop the base here for Maori, or I imagine possibly Joker and Janet, to be honest, is going to show up where everyone lies in those bushes. And, you know, a bat spatter as well for Otis, going to get some great value as well on that, you know, information side. Yeah, Joker going to be going in with the bat spatter already. And I love the way that Reply Totem are approaching this one.
Yeah, I think they got a lot of utility to work with as well with that comp. And sure, there is that gene pool that's always going to be a threat, but in the early stages, it's just going to take quite a bit of time to build up and charge up on the side of NAVI. It does end up getting it now, but it was at the expense of an early death of Angel Boy on that left lane, and therefore a one-star lead now in favor of Reply Totem. Maru flying over them. MMA is one shot. Maru not over-committing, and he does get pulled. It should be a one-for-one trade, but a beautiful mute from Joker coming in to make sure that that trade does not come true, and Reply Totem 5 stars up now.
Wow, it's a flying start, and this especially for a map like Canal Grande, the mid-control is where these games are won and lost, and getting that early control so essential, so crucial here. Mari couldn't quite get off there, the super up, but Mari will take the skies and live to fight another day. He's got 4 stars above his head. He's got to create a bit more distance than this, actually. Joker's completely out of position there, but not really his own fault there. Just couldn't really do much around the pinch that was coming in inevitably. So Navi's starting to bring this one back just a little bit here. Just the 1 star and an aggressive comp to be able to really snowplow their way through these final seconds if they want to with it. But Reply Totem will be just trying to hold their ground, and Navi can actually rotate around the right-hand side if they're not trying to pinch it yet. That's what Cubes can do right now. I love that play from him.
That gene pool from MMA might be critical here. They do have some utility to try to tank it, but that's a cactus out of the way. Already to pull now, and yeah, another cactus plays down by Maori. Gonna be baiting that one, 60 HP, however, and that's 1 kill. The second Maru, 1 HP. Angel Boy should be falling. No, he's going to be staying up, and that's going to be just about enough for NAVI to pick that one up. But that was a close one again.
So, I mean, Angel Boy was inches away from going down there, and those 4 stars would have given Reply Totem the win there. Absolutely so. If that spike shot had just been able to land, I mean, if he'd had maybe just been a few pixels away from that corner, it would have been a different story. But that's exactly what NAVI needs to do right now. Mari under very quick scrutiny. There's Cubic there gadgeting in very early on. Drop the base. Will be protected for all it's worth by Reply Totem here in the early outset moments. And they will gain the blue star for it. So a lot of utility was used to gain it. And now, the response will be that's the second drop the base here for Reply Totem. I think that NAVI are making this work quite well for me. If MMA can get like a good pull here and just kind of heal himself up and start to gain a little bit more of an advantage here. Great pinch is going to be said, but actually getting a bit overzealous there as Cube goes down.
MMA does have the gene pull. 3 players low HP. Angel Boy was a nice pickup and gathered to heal himself back up. Still 1 star in favor of Reply Totem, and NAVI, they do have everything they need to try to bring this one back. They certainly did earlier. And now they even have more time on the clock to do so. 55 seconds left, and Reply Totem are playing very scared on their side of the map, not really willing to give anything away, but by doing that, they're giving away a ton of map control.
Angel Boy just out of harm's reach there. MMA all punished massively so, and almost went down there as a result of that curveball. Gonna have to heal up big time here, and healing puffs will go a long way. That 1 star is all that's there realistically here. All the mark did land. What a great play there, honestly, from Joker to connect it as well as he did. But the pull will bring back a plant. Not the ideal one to have for MMA as Maru tries to assert himself a bit here with 15 seconds at his time. But I don't know whether NAVI can really push this at the moment. They're too low HP.
Yeah, they do have the flank from Q coming in from the right-hand side. Another cactus plays down, and that's a big pickup from Maori. That's going to relieve so much pressure and leave some other opportunities to leave the area as well in case they even needed them. It's better from Totem, but I wouldn't say it was solid. I feel like Navi, they're still looking better in this set to me, and if a couple very small adjustments were in place earlier, I think that probably would have been set for Navi.
I agree, big time, honestly. But what a position for, oh, look at that, that's a value. Got the base as well, QB needs to move. He needs to move, man, you're gonna go down, oh my word. The healing puffs couldn't have come in at a better time. Somehow, some way, Navi come out of that with 5 stars. I don't know, dude, I don't know. I did not think that they were gonna be able to push through in that situation.
Wow, what a crazy way to fight off the match point here. That's in favor of Reply Totem, as Navi are trying to make sure they lock in a set and continue their adventure in this monthly final. Maru, low HP, takes it up in the air, but not really do all that much when he's that low HP, and as soon as he lands, he is created by Angel Boy. MMA finds a second, and that is quite a substantial lead here for Navi. 13 stars now in their favor. Reply Totem don't really seem to have any sort of solution for now.
Yeah, it's a big deficit, isn't it, for Reply Totem to do something about. Great mute there from Joker, but things will be a bit cautious. Low HP and Angel Boy can just close that gap so quickly. Robotic Rats as well to the left-hand side. Oh, Mary goes down. Oh, no, everyone going down for Reply Totem, and it's just not looking good. Oh, and that ball as well. Remember, May got to surely be running the Mythic Gear there. Talks the hand, extending that range in just a perfect way. A ditched attempt there for Mary to go to the skies, but I honestly think this was all over, Teddy. Surely not a chance for Reply Totem to bring this one back.
Yeah, this is not going to be happening. There's just no time to make it work at this point. The lead is way too massively in favor of Navi for this one. What a turnaround here from Navi, as they were on the verge of defeat. They'll be able to live to fight another day, or at least another set here, as they will be taking Bounty home. And it was quite a messy set, let's be honest, but that final game I think is quite important, because it's going to give them not only momentum, but also just some confidence getting into the next one. And I think at this point they kind of needed it.
Well, I think you've nailed it on the head, Teddy, as to how I would describe this series. It's been messy from start to where we are. I mean, Navi just have that kind of play style, it seems, at the moment, to really try to ruffle their feathers and just try to take them away from what they know is actually the... Look at this, though. Cubic just managing to stay alive here, and then as soon as Angel Boy was able to close the gap, that double kill just really sealed it for them. And then the Robotic Rats forcing back Maori. But, I mean, Reply Totem, they are able, of many of the teams that we see to take on Navi, to really show Navi how it's done. I mean, they've been so composed until now, but in Canal Grande, it really is that situation of if you have that control of the mid, then more often than not, great pull from MMA. Honestly, it really was. You know, having them in control is what you need. If you get that early on, and that's what Navi did at that set point opportunity against match point, no less, is to be able to hold that position in power. You're pretty much always at a disadvantage trying to push in to that high ground, and the kills on the board would say the same, despite the DPS being much more on the side of Reply Totem that match.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've had the chance to get some decent damage onto the Ashe across the board, which probably is what inflated those numbers a little bit. But with, you know, the health gear and just the opportunity to play well with your team and heal back up quite quickly, get back into the mix, Angel Boy still got so much work done. 7 kills by himself, that's the equivalent of the entire Reply Totem scoreboard. So... honestly, even though the DPS itself might be lower, they've just been so much better at closing out those kills. Because if you get a gene pool, that's a confirmed kill. If Angel Boy gets into your face with his Ashe, that's a confirmed kill. And I think the ideas there were just a little bit better on the side of Navi and Reply Totem, perhaps underestimating the power of the Ashe in this one.
Moving forwards then, and actually, this map and mode, it kind of caters Navi's playstyle. I mean, it really does. This is not what Reply Totem really want to have here as the 4th set, but have it we do. It's going to cater massively to a lot of tanky ideas. You know, look out for Primos and Balls, and in fact, Primos banned already on the right-hand side for Navi, but ball's still available here, and it's a big pick to have. Bans being Otis and Dynamite for Navi. Dynamite don't sort of look upon that broader and think, why are they banning it? It actually works out pretty well here. Barley banned, Ruffs and M's on the side of Reply Totem, but for me, BB can actually have a good amount of value here. Nita coming in for Navi, I really love that. You can't leave that on the safe. If you got a Bruce Bear to hand, expect Hyper Bear on that safe and for it to be shredded. I mean, Jesse as well. Combined with that, don't shun that idea away either. It can actually do some serious damage, and the game can be over in the blink of an eye. Coming in now for Reply Totem is the chance to ban. I love Buzz here. I really love Buzz here. Been running it a lot in Power League myself, and it can shut down so many ideas. Let's see what Reply Totem are thinking early on, but I mean, the chance to break the map wouldn't go. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. You gotta have ball here. I'm surprised the Navi didn't ban it, in all honesty.
Yeah, I do like the pick, to be honest, and directly trying to pick off Navi's brawler pool, right? Making sure that they are going to be damaging their plans and throwing in just some sort of confusion, perhaps, in what Reply Totem are willing to bring and what Navi would have read and prepared for this specific set. Spike, again, a little bit more plain of a pick. He's been coming back into the meta, interestingly enough. Probably just because there aren't as many viable tank counters, especially when brawlers like M's are banned out here on this map. I don't know. We'll see the surge again, I guess, here from Navi. They brought it in nearly every single set so far with varying results, but they're off, a bit of momentum playing that brawler. So let's see if they can make it pop off again.
I just don't know whether it's the right place for it. I mean, there's still a chance to break the map open, and I think with the Darren as well, that's kind of what the thought process is going to be here from Reply Totem coming into this one. Just to have something to... I think it might be too late, actually. I think it could be well too late. They might have to play their own game around this. I don't know where they go from here, to be honest. I mean, you might want to go with some tank counter ideas. Penny wouldn't be that for me. I mean, I don't know whether Penny is it for me at all, if I'm honest. I mean, it's a bit of a tough one. Navi just come in so super aggressive, and really kind of pick the brawlers, which I'm sure Reply Totem would have liked to have had. I'm not sure. I'm not sure here whether Reply Totem have the draft, in my opinion. Obviously, the Spike has got to do so much work on defense. They're banking on getting the Penny turret, which we now know is called Larry, apparently, to the top left or right-hand side to really have it honed in on the safe. But I'm not too sure. I mean, Ball can do a lot of work here. There's no doubt about that. But I think that Navi might be able to take this all the way. This is a comp that surely has legs, if nothing else.
Well, there's only one way to find out. Cube already aggressive on the left side, creating some space as well for Angel Boy to just roam freely towards that safe, and beautifully rolls through that barrel, actually, and just doesn't really care for it at all. Able to get onto that safe and some nice early damage. Maru gonna try to match that, but just not really able to do it to the same extent, at least not this early on. Mortar will find some value here and there. Cube going in for a flank onto Joker, but Joker reads it and is able to reposition very nicely there, getting a super down onto MMA, which should be locking in that kill. And a chance here maybe to get some damage on save, as Maru will get a couple hits in. Equalizes for now, but a spike super from Joker will be giving the lead to Reply Totem, at least temporarily.
Well, that's quite a close match, in all honesty. MMA, though, no one's feeding him, and that's exactly what you need to do against the Nita. Maru's going to be going in now. They've got to be very careful in their positioning here. Yeah, he's playing it slow and cautious. Now I have to think better of it. Or trying to rotate his way around here. Good roll from Angel Boy, brilliantly done. I mean, look at the way that Navi turned that situation around. But no one is feeding MMA. They are so careful to not give him Bruce, and I love the fact that they are treating it so cautiously.
Certainly have to. Maru gonna try to break out, find his way towards a save. MMA still no bears available for him, but now the lead is quite substantially in favor of Navi. They're getting more value now as well. A chance maybe to catch up, as I think Maru is still on that save, but a couple more hits too, in fact, for the Nita would do. Not quite gonna get it done just yet. They do have a Daryl roll of their own save. Is also so low HP. Mari gonna get a connection. The mortar plays down as well. A couple more hits would be enough, and the fire of the mortar will be what does it here. As Reply Totem, they catch their third match point, and NAVI I mean, they're kind of right back at the position they were a couple games ago.
Yeah, but they were able to sort of hold their own a bit when it came down to that, and I do feel like it was very close. Probably a bit closer than it probably should have been, actually. But they can turn this around. Reply Totem don't keep their focus and keep their eye on the prize, then this could go from a good day to a bad day very quickly, especially with Anita on the other side of the field. But that is not the start there. Reply Totem wanted cube. Oh, great shots though there. Gonna have to heal up now massively. So Angel Boy's playing out of his mind right now, but they're a bit too much, and the penny turret will do wondrous things when it's in that defensive position.
Yeah, I do like the penny mortar against the stage 1 surge, because he's just so slow that if he does the slightest movement mistake, he's going to be tanking that damage, and that's a lot of value for Mari, helping him cycle through those mortars. The second one plays down already, and this one has access to the safe, so the value is going to be much more substantial now for Reply Totem. 25% in their favor, and it keeps extending, and the safe is burning down. And I made one shot, 18 HP, still standing for the time being.
Wow, Joker's got a heal. Bruce coming out, and that's a bit of a waste for me. Served a bit of a purpose, but you really need to land those things onto the safe, and Joker just, yeah, absolutely sparing no expense into MMA. 3 consecutive shots, and it just eradicates that Nita's potential there. Great pinch between Joker and Mari as well. It just seems like Reply Totem play these moments so beautifully well. From a defensive position, taking not a shred of damage, to now where they are on the map. It's great to see, it really is. Just pitch perfect from Reply Totem right now.
Yeah, solid defense on their end, and NAVI, surprisingly enough, this is the first damage they're going to be getting on safe of the entire game, and when you have a match point in hand, that's got to be quite a scary taunt here for NAVI. They still got quite a lot of catching up to do, halfway to catching up, as a matter of fact. 25% left here if they want to try to equalize, but that's considering the fact that Reply Totem wouldn't be getting any more damage on save themselves. Salty Barrel plays down, Mortar plays down as well. This is a chance to get some damage, but I don't think Totem care. They know that Anita was out the bear, and the surge, that's just not enough DPS on safe, and they'll be closing it out themselves as they get some more damage onto that red safe and lock in the victory here and their slot in the semifinals. Reply Totem are moving through.
You just can't get the damage you need out of Bruce. It's simple as that. And, I think Reply Totem play that perfectly. In those moments, you've got to make an instantaneous decision as to what you want to do. If you know that you can win that trade, then you've got to fully commit. That's exactly what they did. No hesitations about it. They were certain the Bruce was not there. Simple as that. And without that, they get the win. They move on to the semi-finals. Great stuff from Reply Totem. NAVI, although they had some good moments and the potential was there, a lot of the drafts I actually quite liked from them here today. But their playstyle was just a bit scatty. It just didn't feel as methodical. It didn't feel as calculated as what we saw and witnessed on the side of Reply Totem. And they already deserved the win, in my opinion. I just felt like they were playing a better game in general. I just felt a bit more composed along the way, and it just goes to show, sometimes the best drafts are those that are just like the simplest. They had Spike more often than not, as it's just a bit more of a versatile pick, but you're not really necessarily sure what you're going to be leading into. It's still one of the best brawlers in the game, in my opinion. It's not necessarily what you'd kind of expect to see in the drafts all the time, but it works. You cannot deny it. Joker with a fantastic game. 11 takedowns and over 300 DPS, and that is pretty much the same combination of 2 of the NAVI players combined. Little to be said really for the side of MMA, but what you've got to say on the side of Reply Totem, they did not feed into him. That is the best way to counter Anita when it comes to any heist map. If you're not giving them Bruce, they've got really little to go with, and it's just as simple as that. Don't feed Nita, and then you'll be able to make it work on your side of the draft. Great stuff. Reply Totem for me today are a team to be feared.
Absolutely so, and I think you make a very valid point regarding the Nita Bears. We saw like 2 or 3 in the entire set, and that is just not quite gonna cut it. Joker, I mean, is it a surprise that he's getting elected MVP here? I don't really think so.
No, I mean, I don't. I really don't. The DPS was always in his favour. Absolutely phenomenal day for him so far. Just really, really convincing with Colette on Brawl Ball. And, you know, every time that we see him draft, you know, it is just great stuff to see. But let us know in the chat, guys, in the stream right now, whether you're on YouTube or Twitch, how are your predictions going? You know, how are you getting on over at event.brawlstars.com? Have you